Hi children, it's Grandma Carla with the story number 13 of our missionary stories from the Millers. And this one is She Changed Her Mind. And this story is from India. Okay, so here's a picture of the country of India right there. Okay, it's a very large country. Lots and lots of people in India. Okay, so I will never be a missionary. Never, never, cried Ida Scooter. I'm going to stay in America always, where it's clean and comfortable. I will have a good job and make plenty of money. I'm never going back to India. Ida's parents were missionaries in India. So was her grandfather. 6 of her uncles and many of her cousins had also chosen to work for the Lord among the poor people of India. But not Ida. She hated the poverty of India, the heat and the dirt and the flies. She couldn't stand to see the beggars and hear about children starving to death. Now that Ida had been sent to school in America, she was determined that she would never, ever return to India. But God had other plans for Ida. Just before she was to graduate from high school, an urgent message arrived from her father. Your mother is seriously ill. Come at once. Yes, I must go to her, Ida decided, but as soon as my mother is well again, I'm leaving. I will never stay in India. So Ida boarded a ship for India, and in a few days she was back in the mission. Amid the dust and the heat and the poverty, she remembered. Obediently, she cared for her mother and helped her father with the work of the mission. But when her mother grew stronger, Ida's thoughts turned back to her comfortable life and her friends in America. I'll be coming home again soon, Ida wrote one night in a letter to one of her friends. Sitting at her desk, Ida looked disdainfully at the cloud of bugs that were trying to get through the screen to her lamp. Soon I'll be back in America, where there aren't so many bugs, she thought. Suddenly, Ida heard soft footsteps on the veranda outside her window. At her door, the footsteps stopped, and she heard someone cough, as Hindus do instead of knocking. Picking up her lamp, Ida went to the door and opened it. A young Hindu man stood before her with an anxious look on his face. Lady, will you please come to help my wife, he begged. She is dying and needs a doctor. I'm sorry, Ida told the man. I'm not the doctor. My father is. I will take you to him at once. No, he cried. We are high-born Hindus, and no man has ever looked upon my wife's face. I want you to come. My wife would rather die than have a man doctor see her. But I don't know anything about medicine, said Ida. I wouldn't be able to help her. Then she must die, said the young Hindu in despair, and was gone into the night before Ida could answer. Sadly, Ida returned to her letter writing, but somehow she could think of nothing to say. As she sat staring at the paper, the sound of footsteps came again into the veranda. Ida jumped up and went to the screen door, hoping that the Hindu had returned. But there stood another man, a well-dressed Mohammedan, bowing politely before her. May Allah give you peace, madame, he said. My wife is very ill, and I have come to ask you to visit her. I heard that you are a new doctor from America. Another one. Ida's heart sank. I am not a doctor. My father is the doctor, she said earnestly. I will call him, and if you want me, I will come along and help. No, madame, that is impossible. The Mohammedan replied haughtily, my religion forbids women to be seen by men outside their own family. I will not bring her to a doctor who is a man. Ida ran to her room and closed the door. Oh, I wish I were far away from India, where the people are so stubborn and ignorant, she thought. But as she was preparing to go to bed, there came a third knock on the door. This time, the man in the dark veranda was a man Ida knew, the father of a child who came to the mission kindergarten. His wife was a pretty young girl, no older than Ida. Please, lady, the man stammered eagerly, Will you come and bring medicine for my wife? She is burning with fever." "I am not a doctor," said Ida again. "I would not know what to do for her. Let me call my father." But she knew, before she even opened his mouth, what the man would say. He would not let a man come near his wife. He wanted a woman. "If you will not help her, she will die," the man moaned as he went down the steps and into the darkness. Slowly, Ida returned to her bed, but she could not sleep. How could this thing happen 3 times in one evening? 3 knocks on the door and 3 calls for help. Was God calling her like he called Samuel in the night? If I were a doctor, Ida thought, I could save the lives of many women and girls here in India. They need a woman doctor to stop this needless suffering. Early the next morning, Ida sent a servant to find out about the 3 women whose husbands had come in the night. "They all died," the servant said sadly when he returned home. "All are dead." "All dead," Ida repeated slowly. Going back to her room, she knelt in prayer. "God has called me and I must obey," she decided. "I will study to be a doctor, and then I can work for the Lord here in India." With a light heart, Ida went to tell her parents of her decision. How pleased they would be. Here's the historical note. Ida became Dr. Ida Scudder, who worked for the rest of her life in India. She built several hospitals in the town of Vellore, which later became the greatest medical center in all of Asia. Dr. Ida Scudder taught the people of India by her words and her deeds that God is love. That was an amazing story. So I don't know what the Lord is calling you to do. Oh, there's my husband. Thank you, husband. I don't know what the Lord is calling you to do, but he called Ida Scudder to become a doctor so that she could minister to the women in India. And that was a very neat calling for her to have upon her life. So this is Grandma Carla, and I love you.